Hello punters and welcome to a racing preview, and this time we'll be looking at Friday night's meeting at the Moonee Valley. Of course, great group racing returns to Friday night under lights at the Valley. Really looks a fantastic meeting. We've got a massive stack of races to look forward to. We've got the Group 2 Science Stud Stakes in over 600 metres. We've got the Group 2 for the mares, which of course is the 4 and 20 stock stakes. We've got the Group 3 Scarborough Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies. We've got the Group 3 JA Cup over the Cox Plate 2,040 metres. And of course the Weight for Age Group 1 Moir Stakes, which we've got to look forward to. It's a really cracking car racing. If you're not doing anything tomorrow night, I really do urge you to get to Moonee Valley. It's a fantastic meeting to be at, especially under the lights. It's just something a real good feel about it. So we're really looking forward to it as the Cox Plate Manicato is coming up obviously very shortly, so that we're really starting to get into the kick of things now, and it's going to be a great night of racing tomorrow night. So we're going to get stuck into it, get plenty of winners. We've got 3 days worth of racing, so we've got so much to get forward to. So let's get stuck into it. Hopefully we'll get off to a great start on Friday night. So look at the first race of the card. At this stage, the track's a good 4. Here in Victoria, there's not really been a whole lot of rain about, so I'd say that we'll be still in that good 4 track rating tomorrow night. So really we can do our form with a bit of confidence with that track being at a good 4 rating. So look at the first race on the card. Was a 1200 metre 3-year-old race here. Look at the speed map. Quite a lot of these horses do get forward in their runs. I'd say King of Hastings and Fiery Red will try and get across some outside barriers. I'd say interestingly, Bakali might go forward, but it might also sit back in the speed. I'd say Zushak will probably try and tuck in behind them rather than leading like it has done its last couple of starts. Missed the deadline. Alabama Express got a couple of tricky gates to deal with based on the speed map. For me, look, King Hastings looks a nice bet, but for me, Charles 40 is a bit short, so I'm willing to go with number 2, Zushak, who's really put forward some really nice wins leading into this. I know this is a much more difficult task, but it's had 2 wins so far, and just looking at the map, I'd say it's going to get the perfect run of the race. This horse finished 2 starts back where it beat Legionnaire at Sale and a maiden there. Legionnaire then came out on a really good race at Flemington a few weeks ago. So the form's pretty good around Zushak, but despite it being in perhaps weaker class races than some of these that it's facing here tomorrow night. But for me, $6 is a really nice price, and I'm willing to have a go at it at the $6. So I'm happy to have Zushak on top ahead of number 1, King of Hastings. Said I think it's based on the speed map. I think I have to do a little bit of work, but it should be fine in the rail. This horse never missed a top 2 finish, so I think it'll be doing that here once again. It was a really good run last time out in Group 3. It was just narrowly beaten by Super Seth, who we know is a very good horse. So I have a lot of respect for this horse, and I would usually do back it. But for me, Charles 40 is just a little bit short based off the gate. So I'd have to do a little bit of work, but favourite backers be hoping get off to a good start. And if you want to back it, I wouldn't say no to it. Just for me, Zushak represent a little bit more value. I've got number 3, Bakali, in for third. I thought this horse was really good first up in that same Super Seth race. Obviously finished not far behind King of Hastings. So this horse could definitely turn the tables. This horse is now second up as well as King of Hastings. Blinkers come off first time, which is a gear change there that we can take note of. They might see a little bit of improvement out of it. So interested to see how it goes. Damien Oliver in the saddle, barrier 2. Looks a really good chance to be winning this race as well. And in for fourth, number 4, Fiery Red, who of course comes down for the Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott stable from Sydney. Won really well at Warwick Farm onto resuming this preparation. Last prep was run round behind microphone in Group 2 at Ramwick. That was the Skyline Stakes. And then it was 3.5 lengths behind Tenley first up last preparation. So has been thrown the deep end for some good races. And based off of what we saw first up where it got its maiden ticked off, it was a nice win. And it I guess suggested to run a good race here once again. So recap the numbers for me. Number 2, Zushak on top. As I know it's stepping up in class. But for me, $6 just based on the draw. I think it's going to get a perfect run in behind the speed. Maybe one out, one back. Be able to peel around and swoop around them on the Valley track, which so far has been showing us that sort of swooping action going 3 wide and coming around the leaders seems to be the way to go, that based off the first few meetings that we've seen at the Valley so far this spring. So I would like to have it on top at the $6 ahead of number 1, King of Hastings. Has said no knock on it, and if you want to have a bet on it, I would not say no to that, especially with the promo special of races 1 to 6. Obviously, you got different betting agencies that are doing the races 1 to 6, 1 to 5. money back for second or third. So if you want to back that horse, I can suggest that it will run a place. So would not say no to backing that. Number 3, Bacali is a very good chance as well. And number 4, Fiery Redden for fourth. Move on to race number 2, and it's a Group 2 over 600 metres. Look, it's the Sign Stud Stakes, and looking at the speed map here, I'd say there's quite a lot of speed in this race. So Legionnaire will try and get across the outside barrier. As I mentioned, a little bit of form around Zushak for Legionnaire, and it won really well last time out at Flemington at big odds. The Holy One will probably use the inside barrier to get forward. Serengeti, Conqueror will definitely go forward in its run. I'd say Vegas Knight and Hinchinpin will probably drop back in the run a little bit. For me, look, from what I saw last start, number 1 Power Scheme's got to go on top here for me. I think it was interesting. Mark Zara jumped off the saddle and said that it would appreciate the extra distance, and that was a really good win first up. Gets that little bit of weight relief, comes down from 60 kilos down to 57. Going to be a bit of speed in the race, so it'll be a genuine tempo. I think this horse can really sort of close off on him late and has that win at the Moonee Valley, which you do like to see. You want to see horses win at this track, and the ones that do win it, they do tend to come back and run well once they're used to this track. So I'm really happy to beat this horse on top. It's number 1 Power Scheme at the $3 on top for me. To beat number 5, the Holy One, who I think can improve off last start. It was in the same race as Power Scheme, was really well supported on that occasion. Didn't get the best run. There was a lot of speed in the race, and it set up for Power Scheme store on the top of them. While there is a lot of, it'll probably be a bit of speed in this race as well. I think this horse gets barrier 1. It should be able to either just sit in behind with a little bit of cover or possibly lead. It's a really nice barrier draw for this horse, and I think it can resume back to the first 2 the first 2 runs before last start, where it had 2 really nice wins. So I've got a lot of respect for this horse. $6.50 is probably over the odds, so I've got it in for second. In for third, for me, number 2 Legionnaire is mapped to get a really good run. It's going to have to obviously get across from the outside barrier, but if it could drop in behind the speed, it's going to get a really nice run. As I mentioned, that real 3 wide and that cart round at Moonee Valley seems to be the track pattern as of late. So if it gets that sort of run, I'd say it'll be running on well, and it'll finish in for third. And then in for fourth, for me, number 4 Conqueror, who's put in a couple of nice performances here at the track. So last started, but it was only just narrowly beaten by Power Scheme on the speed. So I'd say if it runs a similar race to that, it will run well. The only thing is there's a massive weight swing here. I mean, you got Conqueror goes up 1.5 kilos, and Power Scheme comes down 3 kilos. So for me, Power Scheme's still got to be on top of number 4, the Conqueror. So on top for me, number 1 in race number 2, number 1 Power Scheme on top to beat number 5, the Holy One in for second. In for third, number 4 Conqueror, and in for number 2 Legionnaire, and in for fourth, number 4 Conqueror. Move on to race number 3. It's for the Group 2 for the mares, 420 stock stakes, and look at the speed map here, over 600 metres. So Spanish Reef and Miss Siska will fire out and get to the front. Silent Roar will be pressing up there to get on the speed consensus. Tides tends to like to go the speed, but they've got a real tricky barrier from that outside draw. Ocean X, be interested to see what they do. They've dropped back in a couple of starts in this preparation, but it could also go forward. So looks to be a little bit of genuine tempo in this race. And as such, for me, I think this race is going to set up really nice for number 8, Princess Jenny, who's been well back to early markets. It was pretty well supported first up, but it was over the 400 metres. We knew it would have to get over a bit more ground. Ran okay there behind Spanish Whisper. I think that form line's really good from that race at Flemington. This horse is 2 from 2 second up, including last preparation, where it won a Group 3 at Moonee Valley here, beating Angelic Ruler over 600 metres. So it's a really does tick the box off there of the track and distance. It's had a win at a Group 3 level. We know this horse is well up to the standard of this sort of class and can be winning this. And I think it's drawn to get a really nice run in the race with a bit of speed on. So for me, I'm happy to have it on top to beat number 3, Miss Siska, in for second, who was terrific first up in that Spanish Whisper race. So I just think Princess Jenny can overturn the tables this time round. Based off that it's had the run at the track before, and there's going to be a lot of speed on for it to get into the race. But I really like this horse's run first up, finished only just narrowly behind Spanish Whisper, half a length in fact. Second up, I think it'll be improved, get the bit extra distance, and this horse has been well up to it in this sort of standard. I mean, look at last preparation, second up, it ran in a Randwick mile over, it was a Fillies Mares Group 1 race there. It was only 0.4 length behind Canedna. So I mean, that's some really good form. That, of course, was the Coolmore Legacy of the Turf race. Then it went into the Let's Elope at, that was last start, the Let's Elope stakes race. And so this horse is well up to the standard as well. So I'm really happy to have it in for second. In for third, number 2, Spanish Reef, who's been disappointing its 2 runs this preparation, but comes to a track and distance that has run well in prior starts. So 4 starts at this track and distance for a win and 2 placings. So I think coming back to the Valley, being up on the speed, a really nice gate, barrier 2, Damien Lane in the saddle. I think $15 and $3.70 is well over the odds. Would not be surprised if this horse can run a good race. And then in for fourth for me, number 4, Rondinella, who comes across from New Zealand. Of course, was pretty good first up at an open race there at Ellerslie. Last preparation, we did see it come over here and run 2.5 lengths by Novillius in a Wage for Age Group 1 race, and then obviously went into the Sydney Cup and finished by Charroa, finished 4th. So this horse is going to get over a lot more ground, but it's a real classy galloper. It has a class edge on these, and if it runs a good race, I think it'll be finishing home late. So recap the numbers for me in race number 3. I really like number 8, Princess Jenny on top. To beat number 3, Miss Siska in for second. In for third, number 2, Spanish Reef. And then in for fourth, number 4, Rondinella. Moving on to race number 4, and it's the 955 metre, 55-second challenge. Of course, we love these races at Moonee Valley. It's flat out sprint, benchmark 84 race here. And as always in these races, there's a lot of speed in this race. And we're looking at Fine Dane, Diamond Oasis will get fourth, inside barriers, say Royal Witness will get forward. Experimentation, Not Enough Effort, Maku Boy, Big Real, Hummer. There's a lot of them that will be getting forward here in this race, but there always is a lot of speed in this, so it's to be expected. For me, look, I really liked Hummer recently. I know it's got a really tricky gate, but its recent trial at Cranbourne was absolutely terrific on the heavy track. If you haven't seen it already, go back and have a look, and you'll be very keen to back it. This horse first up was really good. It's got great stats. 3 starts first up for 2 wins and a second. And the track, it's won here before and had 2 placings. So for me, it really does make a lot of appeal. And this is a very winnable race, albeit over the 955. So I'm happy having each way played it on the $7 and $2.40 on top for me. To beat God of Thunder, which of course is number 9, coming down for the Hawks team, has been in good form. There's going to be a lot of speed on this race. It's really going to suit this horse to come on from the back if they decide to do so and finish over the top. The 955 looks a little bit short of its ideal distance, but I think coming back on top of the ground is going to suit this horse perfectly after a run on a heavy, and recently it wasn't a good track, but it was a little bit wet there on that occasion. But I think this horse can return to form here, and it gets all the favours, and $3.20 doesn't look a bad price. In for third, number 5, Not Enough Effort. This horse showed a lot of ability for trainer Sharon Trolov last prep. Was really good when it, a couple of starts at Flemington before it had a 6-mile Gee trial, a really good race there. And we know what Gee trial has done since. Had a nice trial leading in here behind Miss Siska. This horse will be ready to go first up, and I think it's a good each way play as well. And in for fourth, number 1, Royal Witness, who we've seen win a lot of these short distance races at Randwick on the Kensington track. Obviously, this horse will lob itself on speed, prove really hard to run down. It's a fit horse and is one that is really tough to run down. I think that if it finds the front or gets close to the front, it'd be pretty hard to beat as well. So, recapping the numbers for me, race number 4. I do like the chance of number 3, Hummer at each way odds. I'll be hoping that it actually goes back in the run and tries to charge on, similar to what it did in its trial. I think that might be the best way to go. But at each way odds looks quite appealing for me. To beat number 9, God of Thunder, in for second. In for third, number 5, Not Enough Effort. In for fourth, number 1, Royal Witness. Move on to race number 5, and it's the Scarborough Stakes for the 3-odd fillies Group 3 race here. Look at the speed map. I'd say that Evening Slippers, Vincero Veloce, Needorp will get forward, Charlize. Absolute Flirt will be up there. Villamine at 10 will be getting forward as well from outside barriers. So a lot of speed in this race. And look, I'm pretty keen to play number 5, Villamire, but it's got to get across on the wide barrier. That's the only concern. But I mean, this horse was only just beaten 0.2 length by Libertini. Libertini's going this race, it would be extremely short. So you've got to really respect that form line, and you've got to respect that Gerald Ryan's wanted to bring it down here to race at Moonee Valley. So I've got to have it on top. To beat number 3, Lincoln Star, I think it's massively over the odds. I really liked its last start at Flemington up the straight behind, way up in the sky. I know this race is going to be a lot more difficult than that one, but I really like the way it closed the line late. I think third up here, we're going to see a bit of improvement from this horse. So I think $19 is massively over the odds for it. In for third, number 1, Exhilarate's been absolutely flying, but for me, barrier number 1's a little bit of a tricky gate. And I think it's going to need a little bit of luck from there, so I'm happy to play it in for third. And then for fourth, number 2, Loving Gabby, who returns to the race course. Absolutely love this horse, but I think it'll be much better over further. I think the 1,100 might be a little bit short, albeit 1,200, but we did see her, of course, win the 1,000-metre race first up on debut at Caulfield over the 1,000 metres, but I think she'll be looking for a little bit further ground, and I'm happy to watch her go around the first time, but she'll be finishing on late. She's a very talented galloper. So for me, look, number 5, Villamai on top to beat number 3, Lankan Star in for second. In for third, number 1, Exhilarates. And for fourth, number 2, Loving Gabby. I also wouldn't be leaving Nidorp, Vincero, Veloce, and Absolute Flirt. So I reckon if you're playing a quaddie, I'd probably have all of those in there. Looks a pretty good race. I'm pretty confident the top 4, and then probably add Absolute Flirt in as well. And I think Tony Gollan, he would have brought these horses down for a reason. I'm pretty positive that one of them will be winning a race very shortly. Moving on to race number 6 is the Group 3 JRA Cup, and looking over the Cox Plate distance of 2,040 metres. Looking at the speed map here, I'd say midterm might go to the top and probably find the lead pretty easy. Kentucky Breeze will probably sit not far behind. Mosh Music, hopefully it can be prominent and get up towards the speed. Corfilla might also get forward as well, but look, for me, based on the map, I'd say that number 8, Mosh Music's going to be extremely hard to beat. Comes back to the Valley. It's won 3 starts from 4 here at the track, and has won 2 starts at the distance from 2. It was really good last time out, beating Royal Lace over 700 metres. It comes up to this 2,040 metres. I think this horse is going to be extremely hard to beat. I think $7 is actually quite generous. I think goes well over the odds. So I'm going to have it on top to beat number 1, Yucatan, who we know is a very serious, talented galloper. First up, last time out, it was over the mile. Was never going to suit it. That was in the Maccabi Diva Stakes. 6.7 lengths off Gadding on that occasion. So, okay run. It's going to be much better over this distance. I think it'll be even better over further, so I'm going to watch it for third up. But expect it to run a good race in for second. In for third, for me, number 6, Kentucky Breeze, faces a much more difficult task here, but it's a winner. It's just a winner. It's won 2 in a row. It's won at this track 2 from 4 starts and had a placing. So it'll be right there in the mix of it, and it has a really good barrier. I'd say that they'll be positive, try and get in behind the speed and be finishing on late. So I'm happy to have it in for third. And then in for fourth, for me, number 4, Quifilla, who, of course, she was the Adelaide Derby winner. So we're looking to, I think she'll improve massively the Adelaide Oaks winner, my mistake. It was really good first up behind Age of Chivalry, and last time out was thrown into the deep end of Maccabi Diva, so it comes out of that race as well. So I'm really happy to have her in for fourth. I think she'll be much better third up and coming up to this distance range. So recap the numbers on the JRA Cup for the Group 3 over 2,040 metres. I really do like the chance of number 8, Mosh Music on top to beat number 1, Yucatan for second. In for third, number 6, Kentucky Breeze. And in for fourth, number 4, Quifilla. Moving on to race number 7, and here it is. It's the Group 1 Weight for Age Moir Stakes over the 1,000 metres. Look at the speed map here. Wow, there's a lot. I mean, can be expected in a 1,000-metre race. Always is quite a lot of speed, but say Nature Strip, Eduardo, Ball of Muscle, they'll all spear out and try and find the lead. Miss Leonidas, she has a lot of pace. Merrill likes to get forward and runs. Assertive Approach from Fartner, they'll be probably up there. Bostonian and Winter Briar won't be far off. Sunlight, I think, will try and tuck in behind. So it really is an interesting race from a tactical point of view. A lot of those ones on the outside barriers are going to need a little bit of luck. Look, this guy's probably his own worst enemy, and I really don't like backing him. But I think number 5, Nature Strip from Barrier 1 is going to be extremely hard to beat. He's going to lob himself on speed. From what we've read from or heard from Chris Waller is that it's going to be getting forward and just finding the front, going to let him just run and roll and get some pace in the race, and I think he'll be extremely hard to beat if they allow him to do that. So he's on top for me to beat number 11, Sunlight, who has just got a sensational second up record. I was a little bit disappointed. Well, I wasn't disappointing first up. I mean, Tony McAvoy was still happy with their run there. Of course, it was the race won by Red Zell there at last preparation. We know that form stacks up really well. Parada and Red Zell both run really well last time out. So I think that this horse will run a good race coming back to the scene of the crime. She won this last year, and I think she'll run a really good race once again. If she can just have that little bit of luck and land just in behind the speed, I think she'll be extremely hard to beat. In for second. And then for me, in for third, at a bit of odds, I think Ball of Muscle, he's well over the odds. He'll be right up there on the speed. He's paying $21, and he's never won at this track before, but he's very good second up, and thought he was very good first up. He was only just narrowly run down by Crystal Dreamer at Caulfield in Group 3 there. This is much harder, but he has won this sort of races before. He beat Redzo last preparation over 1,000 metres, so I think that's a pretty good form to bring into this, so I'm happy to have him in for third. And then in for fourth, I'm happy to have number 2, Trekking, who if they overdo it out front, which they probably will, he'll be charging home late. He obviously needs a little bit further distance, but I do have a lot of respect for him. They are targeting an Everest, so I'd feel he'd be right up to it and he'd be flashing home late and for fourth. So recap the numbers for me. Number 5, Nature Strip goes on top to beat number 11, Sunlight for second. In for third, number 1, Ball of Muscle. And in for fourth, number 2, Trekking. And a very good weight for age Group 1 Moir Stakes. Move on to the final race of the card at Moonee Valley. It's 1,200 metres, benchmark 84. Look at the speed map here. So Princeton Spirit, Par and Prince will get forward, working from home. Critical thing will probably use inside barrier to get forward in the run. But not a whole lot of speed in the race. And as such, I'm going something at a bit of odds here. I think number 1, Princeton Spirit, might run a good race first up here. It's won fresh before. It loves this track. It's had 5 starts this track for 3 wins and a placing. So I really like its chances. And it's ran some good races last prep. And look at form behind Haunted. Look at form behind Mystico at Moonee Valley. So that's some intuition. So some really good form. I think it'll be right up to winning this. It hasn't run a benchmark 84 since this time last year. In fact, when it was, it was in August where it won over 1,200 metres and benchmark 84 on that occasion. So in this class again, Matt Aiken gets the 2 kilo claim. It'll lob itself on speed. I think it'll be extremely hard to beat. I think $18 is massively over the odds. Look, if they do go run at a genuine tempo, number 5, Usain Bolt will be charging home late. He loves this track. He's had 4 starts at track for 2 wins and a placing. Just don't like that there's not a whole lot of speed for a 1,200 metre race. He's going to need a little bit of genuine tempo, but he'll be running on late in for second, and he's having a massive step down in class. In for third, number 9, Legend of Condor, I think is a nice galloper as well. It was really good last time out behind Spanish Dream. Obviously, we'll get a bit of a look at that form with God of Thunder going around the 955 metre race. I think this horse could run a good race as well. Again, it's probably a little bit better than some of these, but it's going to need a little bit of luck off barrier 2. I might see Mark Zara be positive and get forward and not be too far behind the speed. I think that's the best chance for this horse. So then, in for fourth for me, number 3, Mandela Effect, who we know Scott Brunton's had a fantastic record. He's had a lot of very good winners leading into this spring, and I think this is going to be another really good horse. So I just think might need this run first up over the 1,200 metres here at Moonee Valley. First look at the track. I know it's got great first ups records, but it's going to need a little bit of luck. It's going to be at the back of the field more than likely and running on, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the right sort of formula first up over a distance that's probably a little bit short of its best. So recap the numbers for me. Number 1, Princeton Spirit is way over the odds, and I'm happy to have it on top to beat. Number 5, Usain Bolt for second. In for third, number 9, Legend of Condor. And in for fourth, number 3, Mandela Effect. Now looking at the best of the card for me, look, my best bets. Look, I'm pretty keen with number 1, Power Scheme in race number 2. So we'll make that as one of my best bets. And the other one, look, I am keen to play number 5, Nature Strip in the Moir Stakes. I think if I was letting him roll at Moonee Valley, he's just going to be way too quick for him, and he can hopefully run him off his legs. He has burnt a few people a few times, and I've been off him a couple of times as well. I was off him last time out, where obviously he was beaten by Red Cell, but I just think if they let him roll at Moonee Valley, he'll be way too quick for him, so I'm happy to make him my other best bet. My best each way plays, number 8, Mosh Music, in race number 6, well over the odds at $7 and $2.30 the place. I think that's a really nice play to make. And also race number 8, I think number 1 at Princeton Spirit as well over the odds as well, $18 and $5 the place. So hopefully we can get plenty of winners tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll nail one of those roughies as well, and we make plenty of bank leading into the weekend. Hopefully you're all following in some decent form at the moment, looking to really get into these great races. Enjoy the racing tomorrow night. And across the weekend, I'll be posting out more videos to come over the next coming days of Saturday, where we'll be looking at Mornington and also Rose Hill, of course, the Run to the Rose, the Golden Rose Group 1 race there. We're really looking forward to that. And then Sunday with the Underwood Stakes at Caulfield. So got a lot of videos to come, a lot of good racing to get into. Hopefully you'll enjoy it and enjoy this video, and hopefully get plenty of winners. And thanks for following. If you haven't already, go and check out my social media channels and stay tuned for my videos to come. So good luck tomorrow night and happy punting.